What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about the Bitcoin bull TBB today. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. It's the 13th day of August, and by the way, hit that rocket button as well. Shout out to Nuts. Every time I see Nuts posting, this is half the reason why I follow Nuts. His nutness is because he always reminds me to hit that rocket button. I swear, at least 10 of these rockets for me have been hit because of this guy, and probably some other people as well. Keep hitting those rockets or the fire. We got to outpace the poops and the red flags. Anyways, hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Let's get into it. Here we are. Not really up, not really down. We're just moving sideways as we have been, right? Consolidating. And again, this is the preferred method. I think that it's okay to consolidate in this area. Remember, there was a time before, whenever we were just moving up in our glorious pace, that the longest consolidation phase that we had was here. Was from like this time to this time here. We were consolidating for about 5.5 days there, 5.5 days. And if we put a line right here, a horizontal line right above what was the most significant consolidation phase of TBB's existence, significant as far as length of time goes. This might have been significant as far as acquisition of diamond hands goes. I don't know. There's a lot of people in my community, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people in my community, but there's some people in my community and myself as well who bought in this area who haven't sold or who have sold very small amounts. I haven't sold a drop, but to each their own. No shame in selling, right? Take your profits, do your thing, whatever, but just sell responsibly. There's no need to full clip things. I'm getting off. I'm getting distracted here. I want to move on. All I'm trying to say here, man, is 5 days consolidation. That was the most significant consolidation phase. From that most significant consolidation phase, we found support, and we are now holding support above this area. We're intermingled with this area. We could go down here and find support at the lows, prior highs here, kind of like we did actually here. We saw a big wick, but we closed right at that level. There's no coincidence to that. I think that was just a lot of panic selling. And anybody who was around to witness this low price, they're probably like, damn, that's a really good price. I'm going to get in it. And of course, we held that floor level here and this prior point of resistance as support. So I think that whether we're here holding support above this white line, that's fine. Whether we're in the midst of this here, we go lower. We could even go back below 1 cent. That's fine as well. I saw somebody that was saying if we go below 1 cent, that's it. That's the end of it. I don't think it's that simple. I don't think it's that simple at all. We will still have higher lows. I mean, imagine we went down to 0086. They're using their AI to tell them technical analysis. And it's like, if you go here, it's not all over. Because if you go here and then you move back up, what is that? That's a higher low. That's not a problem, actually, right? It's all over once we get a lower low, right? But that's not in the cards. That's not what I'm expecting. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but that's not what I think is going to happen here. There's a lot of demand. There was a lot of volume at each of these low points here, and then the recovery that we had right now. I think anybody who's wanted to sell, any of the panic sellers, anybody who's wanted to get out or sit on the sidelines, they've already made that decision. They've made their bed. Now they're laying in it. And we can observe that through volume. Volume is getting to very low levels that we haven't seen in quite some time. And whenever the volume's low, that's because you're in a range. Typically, you're in a range. Whether that range is sideways like this, it's potentially moving up like this, whatever the case may be. Your volume gets super low, and then you break out one way or the other. You break out one way or the other because everybody who's had time to think about it within this range, everybody who's had time to either buy, to sell, sit on the sidelines, try to trade it, whatever. They've already done that, and now they're just waiting for the move to happen. So the move's going to happen one way or another. If we go down and there's no volume coming in, that could suggest a fake out, and fake outs are typically met with vicious upside recovery. Same thing to the upside. If we move up, we break out. That doesn't necessarily mean if we move up from here or move down from here, right? It's if we break out. So if we're breaking out of this range to the upside, but there's not a lot of volume, we could have vicious recovery to the downside. But if we do break out of this range to the upside, my expectation is that we go to the 786, 886 area. Okay, I'm going to delete the white lines now. Say goodbye to the white lines. We look at this here. You went from your golden ratio down to your 0.5382 area. This is very common behavior, typical stuff that we see before rallying to the 786, 886. And what a symmetrical move that kind of looks like there. I guess this would be a little bit smaller than this move here, to be fair. But from the closing point to this point here, it's actually very symmetrical. Like if we consider this wick kind of like a scam wick, and this is like the real price action, this movement here, it's actually very symmetrical with what we'd see there. It's a very similar movement there. At any rate, that'd be the next idea. We don't want to go below the 382 in this fib retracement. It's okay. I mean, you can. I've seen it before where you go to the 236 and you still go up. This is what I mean when I say going to 1 cent or below 1 cent isn't really that significant. I think it's a false psychological ploy there. I mean, let's just look here. Was 1 cent significant here? Not really. Not really. We broke right through it. I guess we did find support on it momentarily. We've held support, again, momentary psychological significance, but I would say the more significant level is going to be this 2 cent area, even just below 2 cents right there. That 1.95 cent area is going to be much more significant. But again, it's not ideal to go below this 382, but even if we do go below there, even if we do go below 1 cent, there's still the 236 that could hold us to support, this prior closing area, these lows here, the prior resistance point, that's still a higher low. And I have seen it where we go from the golden ratio to the 236, and it's kind of extreme, but you can see those examples happen, and then you still run up to this 786, 886 level and beyond as time goes on. Right here, we're moving up. It's nice. TBB likes it whenever I'm buttering the bread, whenever I'm talking about it moving up, not when I'm talking about it moving down. So let's keep talking about the upward movements. The 4-hour RSI is a bit neutral. It's taken on its most bearish shape since the very beginning days, okay? And this is important, I think, because whenever you're showing your weakness, whenever you're showing strength to the downside, this bearish kind of formation happening, the future interactions are very, very important. What you want to see is a waning of that bearish dominance, that bearish strength. You want to see it wane. You don't want to see it build, okay? Like here, this building bullish dominance, that's that building that bullish strength, that's really good. That's awesome. It starts to die off. We start rejecting the overbought zone. We're getting lower highs. That's not as good. And that, again, should have been a warning sign that maybe we go down. I thought we were going to bounce off this level as we did before and then come up, but whatever, We waned here and we still came back. It didn't work out this time. We had a lot of panic selling going on, and then there's the infighting in the community. Gotta love some good old drama. But anyways, getting away from that, the waning overall that we're seeing here on the 4-hour time frame, we're building our higher lows on the RSI. We're showing less strength to the downside. This low here was technically a higher low than this low, which was higher low than this low, which is a higher low than this low. That's good, especially when you go from being bearish to being neutral. We're ping-ponging in this area, okay? When the bulls were down here and they're trying to exact their revenge, they're like, we need to turn it up a little bit. We made a run all the way up to the overbought zone. When the bears felt like they needed to turn it up a little bit, they made a run all the way down to the oversold zone. Who did more work in these moments? When we went from oversold to overbought, look at how much of a run we had, you guys. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. From a low to a high, we did a 4x move, and then there was more after that. When the bears took over and we got to the oversold zone, we didn't even eat back half that move. We didn't even drop half that move. You did drop 50%. You dropped 50% overall, but that's not the same thing as dropping half. 50% is half of 100, right? You dropped half of your price, but it's not the same. It's not the same thing as half this move. Maybe it is. I don't know. It kind of actually looks, to be fair, it actually does look like it is. Even if it is half, that same movement, it was only half as strong. I think it's less because, again, on the fibs here, 50% would be at the 0.5. 0.5 is right there. So a little bit, that would be 50% of the move is that. Not 50% in price. That's different. Anyways, all I'm trying to say is, again, when the bears showed strength, look at the move you got. Look at the lack of volume. When the bulls showed strength, look at the move you got. Look at the volume that we had here. It's not as big as this volume, but it's still, that is large volume. Remember, guys, this was the largest volume we saw beforehand, and this volume on this move up was what we were seeing, those similar levels there that sent us to all-time highs. So all I'm trying to say here is that the ball right now is in the bulls' court. There is, even though we're showing some neutral readings here on the RSI, there's more of a shift, I would say, to the bullish effect because, again, moving from oversold to overbought, look at the move. Moving from overbought to oversold, look at the move, and just compare notes there. The bears seem to be weaker than the bulls do, and that makes sense. Why does that make sense? It makes sense because 70% of the supply, effectively, is held by one guy. 67.8% here. That's Jason's main wallet. That's the cold storage wallet. And then 0.9% there. It's roughly like 68.5%. I think he owns a little bit more. I think his total is around like 69%. He has another wallet that he has some in as well. And then I mean, you divvy up all these other wallets. The one that's got 1.9% here, 1.3%, 1.17, 1%, 1%, 0.7%. You add it all up. And a lot of these wallets, if you've been paying attention in the top 20, a lot of these wallets, myself included, have only added to their positions. They haven't sold off. They've only added. And there's other people here also who've climbed the ranks from the top 40 or even outside the top 40 into the top 40. There's people who are climbing. It's not that the top 40 is lowering its standard. Now you have to be it's not like it was at 0.2% before and now it's 0.17 to get here. It was lower before and now it's higher. You have to have more TBB now after this drop than before this drop to get into the top 40. All I'm trying to say, and I keep saying that, is that you've got a lot of people who are top wallet holders who are diamond handing this thing. You've got supply shock coming your way, right? There's a lot of people who have either panic sold their bags and they're waiting to see this thing drop and it's just not dropping, and those people will probably FOMO back in. There's a lot of people who were thinking about buying back here or buying back here and they never did, and then they saw this and they're celebrating a little bit in their heads, but now they're like, wait, what if it goes up? What if this is the time? Some of them might have bought here. Some of them are waiting for more compelling reasons to buy. My main point here is that there's a lot of eyes on this thing. There's a lot of disbelief and doubt on this thing. Not within the community. The community knows what it is. The community is aware of everything that's going on and all these plans and building that's going on, and it's awesome. But the people who are outside the community, who are community adjacent, who they're not a part, they haven't bought in yet, they need something, again, that will compel them to buy, and that typically is price action. Everything else that's going on in the community is very bullish, but they're not going to integrate themselves into the community until they buy the coin, and they're going to buy the coin whenever the price is going up, right? You had your chance here. Imagine all the people who've been watching this thing all this time who wanted to pull the trigger but they didn't. If it goes back up here, they're going to believe, just as you and I do, that this thing is going to go to $100 million or more. Sure, from here, $100 million or more in market cap, that's a 7x move. And if we're at our all-time high area, we're over here, that 7x goes into basically like a 2.5x move. Sure, that's a lot smaller. But you got to understand, 146% growth, 100% growth, 50% growth is still awesome. Anybody who wakes up and their portfolio is up even 30% from yesterday, they're happy. And maybe not their portfolio, but part of their portfolio is up. They're happy, right? I'm just thinking in terms of like psychology here, that right now we're kind of in that disbelief phase where we need to prove ourselves and prove to the people who have their eyes on this, right? There's more than just 3,800 holders who are looking at this. There's probably more than double that who are looking at this, which means those are just potential buyers. And everybody wants to pretend that narrative matters. And narrative matters a little bit, don't get me wrong. Fundamentals matter, of course they do. But the thing that matters most is price action. You could have the best narrative. You could have the best fundamentals. You could have the best everything. But if the price is doing this, nobody wants to buy you, right? You could have the worst fundamentals, the worst narrative. You could have no narrative at all. But if your price is pumping, people are going to want to buy. That's just how it is. So we're waiting for that conviction to come in, and that conviction comes with price action to the upside. I think we're going to get that soon, right? We're in this kind of neutral basis here. Again, getting back to the TA, less psychological theory, whatever. We're bouncing off the 40. That's awesome. That's actually a really good sign, bouncing off the 40 on the RSI. We're neutral in the RSI, but there's more bullish momentum going for us. The bulls are definitely showing more strength than the bears are. The MACD is kind of neutral here as well. But for coming back below the zero, crossing back below the zero there, we really didn't see that rough of a move down. We get back above the zero on this MACD. I would assume that the oscillators go higher than they did last time, and we'd probably see an even larger move, or maybe not a larger move than this, but something that would take us above these highs, which, again, that makes sense whenever you consider this Fibonacci retracement here. 0.29 to 0.37, somewhere in that kind of realm. That would be where I expect us to go. We get above 0.37, 3.7 cents. at that point, all I'm thinking about is 9.1 to 20 cents. 9.1 cents to 20 cents. Sub $100 million market cap to multi-$100 million market cap. Something in that kind of realm of existence. That's what I'm thinking once we get above 3.7 cents, $37 million market cap. And I think it'll happen very fast, right? It'll be one of those things that when we get up here, people are going to go like, I knew I should have had a TBB, right? I knew I should have had that V8. They're gonna feel it there. And then as this thing continues to go up, man, that FOMO is just going to ramp up. It's really going to ramp up. Because what we're going to go from $50 million market cap down to a $7 million, how much was it? $4.5 million market cap, and then come back up and we're not going to see 100 million. I doubt it. I mean, this thing, you guys, has potential to see multiple dollars in price in time, right? Maybe not like this. It'll take time. In time, let alone multiple hundreds of millions of dollars. Anyways, let's see. Let's finish this up here. Daily time frame. The daily RSI technically is still bullish. I don't like that we rejected the 50, but the fact that we're not getting oversold and we are getting overbought is good. We're holding above the 40. I would like it if today closed green, just as like a side note. If today could close green, that would be good. That'd be preferable. It's not necessary, but it's preferable. And what we want to do with the MACD here, look at those higher lows coming in. That's nice. We've got higher lows in the price too. It's not bullish divergence. It's just bullish convergence. Higher lows with higher lows. That's still good. Still suggestive of a reversal. What we want is we want these oscillators to hold this zero level. The oscillators can go a little bit below the zero. That's fine, right? Like here on the 4 hour, you held the zero as resistance here, but you went above it, right? You didn't stop right at this level. You stopped just above it, actually, like right there. Here we held the zero as support. We didn't stop at the zero. We stopped just above it. It's more of like an area. It doesn't have to be exact, okay? But if we can hold this level as support and flip this daily MACD green, that to me would be one of the strongest, if not the strongest signal that we'd have in this current area. I mean, the RSI getting overbought again on the daily time frame would also be a very powerful signal, but this would be more likely to happen first rather than this, unless we just blast through the roof. I mean, tomorrow if we're at new all-time highs, sure, this might be at the overbought area, but they'd probably cross and get overbought together. But these are positive things that are shaping up right now. They haven't happened yet, but this is just, again, a something to get excited about in the future. As we move up, this RSI will continue to move up. We'll consistently move up, and then maybe by the end of the month or early September, we're overbought, and that's whenever we're expanding to new all-time highs. It could be the end of this month or the beginning of September before we see new all-time highs. Could be later, and that's fine. And then the MACD, hold on. The MACD crossing green, which hasn't happened yet, but you can see that the bearish momentum is waning and we are getting near to a cross here, plus the oscillators are at the zero. Just these things that haven't happened yet, but they're primed to happen. All we got to do is move up a little bit, and then the sun starts shining a little bit more. And then add into that, beyond the technicals, add in the psychology, where you have your doubters, your fudders, your haters, your sideliners who might get in this. They're just not sure. They're on the fence. That conviction builds, and that despair decays as the price goes up. So, well, here we are moving down now. We were at 1.5 cents. Now we're at 1.3 cents. Darn it. It's so sad. No, again, guys, we can go lower, and it's still fine. I'm not saying that we are going to go lower. I'm not projecting that we do go lower, but it can happen, and if it does happen, it's okay, right? Again, the bulls are in control right now. The diamond hands are in control, and there is still this this manipulated behavior in the price action. I mean, you're seeing it here now, right? Very manipulated behavior. And the best way to combat this, really the only way to combat this, is to just buy and hold, right? Let them expend their bags, let them push the price down, and then we hold and we don't sell, right? You don't see it like this where they manipulate it down, they force sell down, and then it goes a little bit lower because people are panic selling, so they buy up a little bit more, and then it goes a little bit lower because people are panic selling, so they buy a little bit more, and then they send the price up. right? And then they distribute, and they send the price down and rinse and repeat. That's what they're doing here. The only way to combat that is nobody sell, and it's easier said than done. There's probably going to be people who panic sell on any drop, people who panic buy on any pump, but the less people that do, the less this price will move down afterwards. And then if these people who are pushing around the markets want to get back in, they want to have some force, they have to buy back in here. They're going to have less TBB. Like imagine this took what? How much volume is that? 8,000. I doubt it's all $8,000 of selling, but let's say it's $8,000 of selling. It took you $8,000 to push the price down this much, 8%. It's now going to take you more than $8,000 to push the price back up here. In other words, you put that same $8,000 in, you're going to have less TBB. You're gonna buy less TBB here than you had up here, which means you have less selling pressure as time goes on. And the only way that we can take it away from these bots, from these manipulators, the people who are gaming the market right now and pushing price around, is to just buy and hold. If you can't buy because you're just fully deployed, or you can't buy because you've got the amount that you want, you don't want to add more, right? You're at your risk level, hold. Just hold. That's what the top 40 wallets are doing for the most part. That's what the top 10 wallets are doing flawlessly. Add when you can if you want to. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I think adding here to your position or starting a position will be very advantageous, because again, it's the difference between taking a shot in the dark. It's not really a shot in the dark, but kind of rolling the dice here in this consolidation range where you might have less conviction. We get to a $100 million market cap or more, that's a 7.5x, where if you wait until we break out of this consolidation phase, okay, we're at a little bit higher of a price, that 7.5x turns into a 4x. Still great, still phenomenal. Maybe that's worth waiting for. Maybe it's better to buy into strength for some people. And then for others, they're going to wait until we're at new all-time highs, until we don't have just a lower high. And if you wait until we're at new all-time highs, that 7.5x, that potential 4x, then turns into a 2x, which is still phenomenal. This is why, you guys, again, we have this, it's like a pyre of flammable material, whatever it is. It's a pyre that's it hasn't lit yet, but whenever that first domino falls, whenever that first log is lit, whenever that first whatever catches flame, it will quickly burn through all this fuel, because there's going to be people who have plans to buy right above this high, plans to buy right above this high, people who will FOMO in between and everything as we're breaking out of this zone, because there's still tremendous gains no matter where you cut it from, right? We even get out to new all-time highs, you still have more than a 2x capability coming your way. And that's just to get to $100 million. If we get to $120 million, which is actually the next target area for our all-time highs, $120 million, that's even more than just a 2.1x. But I'm going to go. I'll see you guys on the next one. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.